Sudhir Goswami continued. Vishnu, who was engaged as the priest of the demigods, had three heads. He used one to drink the beverage Som Rasa, another to drink wine, and the third to eat food. O King Pariksit, thus I have heard from authorities. Text 1. Sri Sudhir Goswami continues. Vishwarup, who was engaged as the priest of demigods, had three heads. He used one to drink the beverage Som Rasa, another to drink wine, and the third to eat food. O King Parikshit, thus I have heard from authorities. Purport. One can directly perceive the kingdom of heaven, its king, and other inhabitants, or how they perform their various engagements. For no one can go to the heavenly planets. Although modern scientists have invented many powerful space vehicles, They cannot even go to the moon, not to speak of other planets. By direct experience, one cannot learn anything beyond the range of human perception. One must hear from authorities. Therefore, Shukdev Goswami, a great personality, says, "What I am describing to you, O king, is what I have heard from authoritative sources." This is the Vedic system. The Vedic knowledge is called Shruti because it must be received by being heard from authorities. It is beyond the realm of our false experimental knowledge. Text 2. O Maharaj Pariksit, the demigods were related to Viswarup from his father's side, and therefore he visibly offered clarified butter in the fire while chanting mantras as Indraya Idam Swaha. This is meant for King Indra. And Idam Aganye. This is for the demigod of fire. He loudly chanted this mantra and offered each of the demigods his proper share. Text 3. Although offering clarified butter in the sacrificial fire in the name of demigods, without the knowledge of the demigods, he also offered oblations to the demons because they were his relatives through his mother. Purport. Because of Viswarupa's affection for families of both the demigods and demons, he appeased the Supreme Lord on behalf of both dynasties. When he offered oblations in the fire on behalf of Asuras, he did so secretly without the knowledge of the demigods. Text 4. Translation. Once upon a time, however, the king of heaven Indra understood that Viswarup was secretly cheating the demigods by offering oblations on behalf of the demons. He became extremely afraid of being defeated by the demons, and in great anger at Viswarup, he cut the Viswarupa's 3 heads from his shoulders. Text 5. Thereafter, the head meant for drinking Som Rasa was transformed into Kapinjala from clean partridge. Similarly, the head meant for drinking wine was transformed into Kalavinka sparrow, and the head meant for eating food became Titiri common partridge. Text 6. Although Indra was so powerful that he could neutralize the sinful reaction for killing a Brahmana, he repeatedly accepted the burden of these reactions with folded hands. He suffered for 1 year and then purifying himself, he distributed the reactions for his sinful killing among the earth, water, trees, and women. Text 7. In return of for King Indra's benediction that ditches in the earth would be filled automatically, the land accepted 1/4 of the sinful reactions for killing a Brahmana. Because of those sinful reactions, we find many deserts on the surface of the earth. Purpose. Because deserts are manifestations of Earth's diseased condition, no auspicious ritualistic ceremony can be performed in a desert. Persons destined to live in deserts are understood to be sharing the reaction for the sin of Brahmahatya, the killing of a Brahmana. Text 8. Translation. In return for Indra's benediction that their branches and twigs would grow back when trimmed, the trees accepted 1/4 of the reactions for killing a Brahmana. These reactions are visible in the flowing of sap from trees. Therefore, one is forbidden to drink this sap. Text 9. In return for Lord Indra's benediction that they would be able to enjoy lusty desires continuously even during pregnancy for as long as sex is not injurious to the embryo, women accepted 1/4 of the sinful reactions. As a result of those reactions, women manifest the signs of menstruation every month. Purport. Women as a class are very lusty, and apparently their continuous lusty desires are never satisfied. In return for Lord Indra's benediction that there would be no cessation to their lusty desires, women accepted one fourth of the sinful reaction for killing a Brahmana. Text 10 translation. And in return for King Indra's benediction that water would increase the volume of other substances with which it was mixed, water accepted one fourth of the sinful reactions. Therefore, there are bubbles and foam in water. When one collects water, this should be avoided. Purpose. If water is mixed with milk, fruit juice, or other similar substances, it increases their volume and no one can understand which has increased. In return for this benediction, water accepted one fourth of Indra's sinful reactions. These sinful reactions are visible in foam and bubbles. Therefore, one should avoid foam and bubbles while collecting drinking water. Text 11 translation. After Vishwarup was killed, his father Twasta performed ritualistic ceremonies to kill Indra. He offered oblations in the sacrificial fire, saying, O enemy of Indra, flourish to kill your enemy without delay. Purport. There was some defect in Twasta's chanting of the mantra because he chanted it long instead of short, and therefore the meaning changed. Twasta intended to chant the word Indra Satro, meaning O enemy of Indra. In this mantra, the word Indra is in the possessive case, Sashti, and the word Indra Satro is called a Tatpurusha compound, Tatpurusha Samas. Unfortunately, instead of chanting the mantra short, Twasta chanted it long, and its meaning changed from the enemy of Indra to Indra who is an enemy. Consequently, instead of an enemy of Indra's, there emerged the body of Vritrasur, of whom Indra was the enemy. Text 12. Thereafter, from the southern side of sacrificial fire, known as Anvaharya, came a fearful personality who looked like the destroyer of the entire creation at the end of the millennium. Text 13 to 17. Translation. Like arrows released in the four directions, Damon's body grew day after day. Tall and blackish, he appeared like a burnt hill and was as lustrous as a bright array of clouds in the evening. The hair on the demon's body and his beard and mustache were the color of melted copper, and his eyes were piercing like the midday sun. He appeared unconquerable, as if holding the three worlds on the points of his blazing trident. Dancing and shouting with a loud voice, he made the entire surface of the earth tremble as if from an earthquake. As he yawned again and again, he seemed to be trying to swallow the whole sky with his mouth, which was as deep as a cave. He seemed to be licking up all the stars in the sky with his tongue and eating the entire universe with his long, sharp teeth. Seeing this gigantic demon, everyone in great fear ran here and there in all directions. Text 18 translation. That very fearful demon, who was actually the son of Twasta, covered all the planetary system by dint of austerity. Therefore, he was named Vritra, one who covers everything. Purport. In the Vedas, it is said, Sa imali lokan avino tad vitrasya vitravatvam. Because the demon covered all the planetary system, his name was Vitrasura. Text 19. The demigods headed by Indra charged the demon with their soldiers, striking him with their own transcendental bows and arrows and other weapons, but Vritrasur swallowed all their weapons. Text 20 translation. Struck with wonder and disappointment upon seeing the strength of the demons, the demigods lost their own strength. Therefore, they all met together to try to please the super soul, the supreme personality of Godhead Narayana, by worshipping him. Text 21. The demigod said, the three worlds are created by the five elements, namely ether, fire, air, water, and earth, which are controlled by various demigods, beginning from Lord Brahma. Being very much afraid that the time factor will end our existence, we offer presentations unto time by performing our work as time dictates. The time factor himself, however, is afraid of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, let us now worship that Supreme Lord who alone can give us all full protection. Purpose. When one is afraid of being killed, one must take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is worshipped by all demigods, beginning from Brahma, although there are in charge of various elements in this material world. The words Bibheti Yasmat indicate that all the demigods, regardless of how great and powerful, fear the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The demigods, being afraid of death, took shelter of the Lord and offered him these prayers. Although the time factor is fearful to everyone, fear personified is afraid of the Supreme Lord, who is therefore known as Abhaya, fearless. Taking shelter of the Supreme Lord brings actual fearlessness, and therefore the demigod decided to take shelter of the Lord. Text 22. Translation. Free from all material conceptions of existence and never wondered struck by anything, the Lord is always jubilant and fully satisfied by his own spiritual perfection. He has no material designation and therefore he is steady and unattached. That Supreme Personality of Godhead is the only shelter of everyone. Anyone desiring to be protected by others is certainly a great fool who desires to cross the sea by holding the tail of a dog. Purpose. A dog can swim in water, but if a dog dives in the ocean and someone wants to cross the ocean by holding the dog's tail, he is certainly fool number one. A dog cannot cross the ocean, nor can a person cross the ocean by catching a dog's tail. Similarly, one who desires to cross the ocean of nescience should not seek the shelter of any demigods or anyone else but the fearless shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam therefore says 10.14.58 Samashrita ye pad pallava palvam महत पदम पुण्य यशो मुरारे भवाम बुधिर यस्य padam param padam 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 yad vipadam natesam. The Lord's lotus feet are an indestructible boat, and if one takes shelter of that boat, he can easily cross the ocean of nescience. Consequently, there are no danger for a devotee, although he lives within this material world, which is full of dangers at every step. One should seek the shelter of all powerful instead of trying to be protected by one's own concocted ideas. Text 23. Translation. The Manu named King Satyavrata formerly saved himself by tying the small boat of the entire world to the horn of Matsya Avatar, the fish incarnation. By the grace of the Matsya Avatar, Manu saved himself from the great danger of the flood. May the same fish incarnation save us from the great and fearful danger caused by the son of Twasta. Text 24. Translation. In the beginning of creation, a tremendous wind caused fierce waves of inundating water. The great waves made such a horrible sound that Lord Brahma almost fell from his seat on the lotus into the water of devastation. But he was saved with the help of the Lord. Thus we also expect the Lord to protect us from this dangerous condition. Text 25. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who created us by his external potency and by whose mercy we expand the creation of the universe, is always situated before us as the Super Soul, but we cannot see his form. We are unable to see him because all of us think that we are separate and independent gods. Purport. Here is an explanation why the conditioned soul cannot see the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. Even though the Lord appears before us as Lord Krishna or Lord Ramchandra and lives in human society as a leader or the king, the conditioned soul cannot understand him. Avjananti mama mudha manusim tanumarshritam. Rascals, mudhas, deride the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thinking him an ordinary human being. However insignificant we are, we think that we are also God, that we can create a universe or that we can create another God. This is why we cannot see or understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this regard, Srila Madhvacharya says, Lingam ev pasyama kadachit abhimanastu devanam api san iva praya kalesu nasti eva नास्ति एव तारतम्येन so apitu. We are all concerned to various degrees, but we think that we are God. This is why we cannot understand who God is or see Him face to face. Text 26-27 translation. By his inconceivable internal potency, the Supreme Person Godhead expands into various transcendental bodies as Vamandev, the incarnation of strength among the demigods, Parsuram, the incarnation among saints, Nrsimhadev and Vara, incarnation among animals, Matsya and Kurma, incarnation among aquatics. He accepts various transcendental bodies among all different types of living entities and among human beings. He especially appears as Lord Krishna and Lord Ram. By his causeless mercy, he protects the demigods who are always harassed by the demons. He is the supreme worshipable deity of all living entities. He is the supreme cause represented as the male and female creative energies. Although different from this universe, he exists in his universal form. In our fearful condition, let us take shelter of him. For we are sure that the Supreme Lord, the Super Soul, will give us his protection. Purpose. In this verse, the Supreme Person Godhead Vishnu is ascertained to be the original cause of creation. Sridhar Swami, in his commentary Bhavarth Deepika, replies to the idea that Prakriti and Purusa are the causes of the cosmic manifestation, as stated herein. Param Pradhanam Purusam Visvam Anyam. He is the supreme cause, represented as the male and female creative energies. Although different from this universe, he exists in his universal form. The word Prakriti is used to indicate the source of generation, refers to the material energy of the Supreme Lord, and the word Purusa refers to the living entities who are the superior energy of the Lord. Both the Prakriti and Purusa ultimately enter the Supreme Lord as stated in Bhagavad Gita, Prakritim Yanti Mamikam. Although Prakriti and Purusa superficially appear to be the causes of the material manifestation, both are emanations of different energies of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, the Supreme Lord is the cause of Prakriti and Purusa. He is the original cause, Sarva Karana Karanam. Naradya Puran says, Avikaro api parama prakirtistu vikarini anupravisya govinda prakirtis cha vidyate. Both the Prakriti and Purusa, which are inferior and superior energies, are emanations from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As explained in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord enters the Prakriti and then the Prakriti creates different manifestations. The Prakriti is not independent or beyond his energies. Vasudev, Lord Sri Krishna, is the original cause of everything. Therefore, the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 10.8, I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly knows this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. In Srimad Bhagavatam 2.9.33, the Lord also says, Aham evasam evagre. Only I existed before the creation. This is confirmed in the Brahmand Puran as follows. To generate the universe, the Lord acts indirectly as the Purusha and directly as the Prakriti, because both energies emanate from Lord Vasudeva, the all pervasive Supreme Person Godhead. He is known as both Prakriti and Purusha. Therefore, Vasudeva is the cause of everything. Sarva Karan Karanam. Text 28, translation. Sri Sukdev Goswami said, My dear king, when all the demigods offered him their prayers, the Supreme Person Godhead Lord Hari, carrying his weapons, the conch shell, disc, and club, appeared first within their heart and then before them. Text 29:30. Surrounding and serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, were 16 personal attendants decorated with ornaments and appearing exactly like him, but without the mark of Srivats and the Kaustubh jewel. O king, when all the demigods saw the Supreme Lord in that posture, smiling with eyes like the petals of lotuses grown in autumn, they were overwhelmed with happiness and immediately fell down like rods offering dandavats. Then they slowly rose and pleased the Lord by offering him prayers. Purport. In Vaikuntha Lok, the Supreme Person Godhead has four hands and decorations like the Sivat's mark on his chest and the gem known as Kaustubha. These are special indication of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord's personal attendants and other devotees in Vaikuntha have the same features except for the Srivat's mark and Kaustubha gem. Text 31 Sri Deva Iti. The demigod said, O Supreme Person Godhead, you are competent to give the results of sacrifice, and you are also the time factor that destroys all such results in due course. You are the one who releases the chakra to kill the demons. O Lord, who possesses many varieties of names, we offer our respectful obeisances unto you. Text 32. O Supreme Controller, you control the three destinations: promotion to the heavenly planets, birth as a human being, and condemnation in hell. Yet your supreme abode is Vaikuntha Dham. Since we appeared after you created this cosmic manifestation, your activities are impossible for us to understand. We therefore have nothing to offer you but our humble obeisances. Purport. An inexperienced man generally does not know what to beg from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everyone is under the jurisdiction of the created material world, and no one knows what benediction to ask when praying to the Supreme Lord. People generally pray to be promoted to the heavenly planets because they have no information of the Vaikuntha. Srila Madhvacharya quotes the following words. There are different planetary systems known as Devalok, the planet of the demigods, Pitralok, the planet of the Pitas, and Niraya, the hellish planets. When one transcends these various planetary systems and enters Vaikuntha Lok, he achieves the ultimate resort of the Vaishnavas. Vaishnavas have nothing to do with the other planetary systems. Text 33. Translation. O Supreme Person of Godhead, O Narayana, O Vasudeva, original person, O most exalted person, supreme experience, welfare personified, O supreme benediction, supremely merciful and changeless, O support of the cosmic manifestation, sole proprietor of the all planetary system, master of everything, and husband of the goddess of fortune. Your lordship is realized by the topmost sannyasis who wander about the world to preach Krishna consciousness, fully absorbed in samadhi through bhakti yoga. Because their minds are concentrated upon you, they can receive the conception of your personality in their fully purified hearts. When the darkness in their heart is completely eradicated and you are revealed to them, the transcendental bliss they enjoy is the transcendental form of your lordship. No one but such person can realize you. Therefore, we simply offer you our respectful obeisances. Purport. The Supreme Person Godhead has numerous transcendental names pertaining to different grades of revelation to various grades of devotees and transcendentalists. When he is realized in his impersonal form, he is called the Supreme Brahman. When he is realized as Paramatma, he is called Antaryami. When he expands himself in different forms for material creation, he is called Sirodaksai Vishnu, Garbhodaksai Vishnu, and Karunadaksai Vishnu. When he is realized as Vasudev, Sankarsan, Pradyumna, and Anirudh, the Chaturvyu, who are beyond the three forms of Vishnu, he is the Vaikuntha Narayan. Above realization of Narayana is realization of Baladeva, and above that is the realization of Krishna. All these realizations are possible when one engages fully in devotional service. The covered core of one's heart is then completely open to receive an understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his various forms. Text 34. Translation. O Lord, you need no support, and although you have no material body, you do not need cooperation from us. Since you are the cause of the cosmic manifestation and you supply its material ingredients without being transformed, you create, maintain, and annihilate this cosmic manifestation by yourself. Nevertheless, although you appear engaged in material activity, you are transcendental to all material qualities. Consequently, these transcendental activities of yours are extremely difficult to understand. Purport. The Brahm Samhita says, Golok ev nivasati akhilatma bhuta. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is always situated in Golok Vrindavan. It is also said, Vrindavanam parityajya padam ekam na gacchati. Krishna never goes even a step from Vrindavan. Nevertheless, although Krishna is situated in his abode, Golok Vrindavan, he is simultaneously all pervading and is therefore present everywhere. This is very difficult for a conditioned soul to understand. But devotee can understand how Krishna, without undergoing any changes, can simultaneously be in his abode and be all pervasive. The demigods are understood to be various limbs of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although the Supreme Lord has no material body and does not need anyone's help, he is spread everywhere. Nevertheless, he is not present everywhere in his spiritual form. According to Mayavad philosophy, the Supreme Truth, being all pervasive, does not need a transcendental form. The Mayavadis suppose that since his form is distributed everywhere, he has no form. This is the untruth. The Lord keeps his transcendental form, and at the same time he expands everywhere, in every nook and corner of the material creation. Text 35. Translation. These are our inquiries. The ordinary conditioned soul is subject to the material laws, and he thus receives the fruits of his actions. Does your Lordship, like an ordinary human being, exist within this material world in a body produced by the material modes? Do you enjoy or suffer the good or bad results of actions under the influence of time, past work, and so forth? Or, on the contrary, are you present here only as a neutral witness who is self sufficient, free from all material desires, and always full of spiritual potency? We certainly cannot understand your actual position. Perfect. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that he descends to this material world for two purposes, namely paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya cha duskritam, to relieve the devotees and kill the demons or non-devotees. These two kinds of action are the same for the absolute truth. When the Lord comes to punish the demons, he bestows his favor upon them. Similarly, when he delivers his devotee and gives them relief, he also bestows his favor. Thus, the Lord bestows his favor equally upon the conditioned souls. When a conditioned soul gives relief to others, he acts piously. And when he gives trouble to others, he acts impiously. But the Lord is neither pious nor impious. He is always full in his spiritual potency, by which he shows equal mercy to the punishable and protectable. The Lord is apapa vidham. He is never contaminated by the reaction of so-called sinful activity. When Krishna was present on this earth, he killed many inimical non-devotees, but they all received sarupya. In other words, they returned to their original spiritual bodies. One who does not know Lord's position says that God is unkind to him, but merciful to others. Actually, the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Samo aham sarva bhutesu na me dvesyo asti na priya. I am equal to everyone. No one is my enemy and no one is my friend. But he also says, Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya maite tesu chapyaham. If one becomes my devotee and fully surrendered to me, I give him special attention. Text 36. Translation. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, all contradictions can be reconciled in you. O Lord, since you are the Supreme Person, the reservoir of the unlimited spiritual qualities, the Supreme Controller, your unlimited glories are inconceivable to the conditioned soul. Many modern theologians argue about right and wrong without knowing what is actually right. Their arguments are always false and their judgments inconclusive because they have no authorized evidence with which to gain knowledge of you. Because their minds are agitated by scriptures containing false conclusions, they are unable to understand the truth concerning you. Furthermore, because of polluted eagerness to arrive at the right conclusion, their theories are incapable of revealing you, who are transcendental to their material conceptions. You are one without a second, and therefore, in your contradictions, like doing and not doing, happiness and distraction are not contradictory. Your potency is so great that it can do and undo anything as you like. With the help of that potency, what is it possible for you? What is impossible for you? Since there is no duality in your constitutional position, you can do everything by the influence of your energy. Purport. The Supreme Person Godhead, being self-sufficient, is full of transcendental bliss. He enjoys bliss in two ways: when he appears happy, when he appears distressed. Distinction and contradictions are impossible in him because only from him have they emanated. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the reservoir of all knowledge, all potency, all strength, opulence, and influence. There is no limit to his powers. Since he is full in all transcendental attributes, nothing abominable from the material world can exist in him. He is transcendental and spiritual, and therefore conceptions of material happiness and distress do not apply to him. We should not be astonished to find contradictions in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Actually, there are no contradictions. That is the meaning of his being supreme. Because he is all powerful, he is not subject to the conditioned soul's arguments regarding his existence or not existence. He is pleased to protect his devotee by killing their enemies. He enjoys both the killing and the protecting. Such freedom from duality applies not only to the Lord, but also to his devotees. In Vrindavan, the damsels of Rajbhumi enjoy transcendental bliss in the company of the Supreme Person Godhead, Krishna, and they feel the same transcendental bliss in separation when Krishna and Balram leave Vrindavan for Mathura. There is no question of material pains or pleasures for either the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his devotees, pure devotees, although they are sometimes superficially said to be distressed or happy. One who is Atmaram is blissful in both ways. Non-devotees cannot understand the contradictions present in the Supreme Lord or his devotees. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita, Lord says, Bhaktya Mam Ajijanati. The transcendental pastimes can be understood through devotional service to non-devotees. They are inconceivable. Achintya Khalu. Ye bhava na tam tarkena yojayet. The Supreme Lord and His form, name, pastimes, and paraphernalia are inconceivable to non devotees, and one should not try to understand such reality simply by logical arguments. They will not bring one to the right conclusion about the absolute truth. Text 37 Translation. A rope causes fear for a bewildered person who considers it a snake, but for a person who, with proper intelligence, who knows it to be only a rope. Similarly, you, as the super soul in everyone's heart, inspire fear or fearlessness according to one's intelligence, but in you there is no duality. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita 4:11, the Lord says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. As one surrenders unto me, I reward him accordingly. The Supreme Personal Godhead is the reservoir of everything, including all knowledge, all truth, and all contradictions. The example excited herein is very appropriate. A rock is one truth, but some mistake it for a snake, whereas others know it to be a rope. Similarly, devotee who know the Supreme Personality of Godhead do not see contradictions in Him. But non-devotees regard him as the snake-like source of all fear. For example, when Nrsimhadev appeared, Prahlad Maharaj saw the Lord as the supreme solace, whereas his father, a demon, saw him as the ultimate death. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhayam Dvitiya Bhinnivesita Syat. Fear results from being absorbed in duality. When one is in knowledge of duality, one knows both fear and bliss. The same Supreme Lord is a source of bliss to devotees and fear to non devotees who have a poor fund of knowledge. God is one, but people understand the absolute truth from different angles of vision. The unintelligent see contradictions in Him, but sober devotees find no contradictions. Text 38. Translation. With deliberation, one will see that the Supreme Soul, although manifested in different ways, is actually the basic principle of everything. The total material energy is the cause of the material manifestation, but the material energy is caused by Him. Therefore, He is the cause of all causes, the manifester of intelligence and the senses. He is perceived as the super soul of everything. Without Him, everything would be dead. You, as the super soul, the supreme controller, are the only one remaining. Purport. The words Sarva Vastuni Vastu Swarupa indicate that the Supreme Lord is active principle of everything, as described in Brahma Samhita 5.35. I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, who enters the existence of every universe and every atom by one of his planetary portions, and thus manifests his infinite energy throughout the material creation. By his one plenary portion as Paramatma, Antaryami, the Lord is all pervading throughout the unlimited universes. He is Pratyak or Antaryami of all living entities. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Setra Nam Chapi Mam Vidhi Sarva Setresu Bharata. O Sion of Bharat, you should understand that I am also the knower in all bodies. Because the Lord is the super soul, He is the active principle of every living entity and even the atom. Andantarachar Parmanu Chayantarastham. He is the actual reality. According to various stages of intelligence, one realizes the presence of the Supreme in everything through the manifestation of his energy. The entire world is permeated by the three gunas, and one can understand his presence according to one's modes of material nature. Text 39. Translation. Therefore, O killer of the Madhu demon, incessant transcendental bliss flows in the mind of those who have even once tasted upon the drop of nectar from the ocean of your glories. Such exalted devotees forget the teeny reflection of so called material happiness produced from the material sense of sight and sound, free from all desires. Yes,
वन्दे गुरु श्रीचरणं चरन्दं तस्य आज रात को बुला लूँगा। किसका? कहाँ पे? इस बार
दे दी थी ना, तब मैं तुम्हें महीना हो गया था, तुम्हें वहाँ पे जाके फिर एक्सीडेंट हो गया, बैठ गया, अब क्या करे।
गर्मी है वृंदावन में, गर्मी है वृंदावन में।
ठीक है ना, इधर ही लेटा है ना, कल याद में बैठा ना है। साधु जी को डरो ना, बता क्या भाई पड़ा है, लोग आए हुए हैं क्या बाहर से। तो कहीं और की व्यवस्था कर दिया हमने। इसको मैं उठा नहीं सकता, पता है ऐसे करके, ये हम ठीक है, इसे छू सकता। रहने का है कुछ मंदिर में टोटल मंदिर का रहेगा गेस्ट हाउस तो मंदिर में ऐसे रखा हुआ है जाओ इधर चलो खाली ऐसे दाम पर सीधा तो कर कुछ सीधा तो ये बिल्डिंग नहीं है खाली खाली डॉक्टर वो भी थोड़ी है किसी का बाहर Radha Govinda Premi Sada Janabhati Namo Namo Shri Krishna Priyasi Namo Namo Om Gambhidam Hadisam Jagantam Sarvatam Mukham Vishnam Bhattaram Vishnu Bhattaram Jaya Sundar.